Today we are talking about Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. This is one of those books that almost everyone has heard of, especially if you ever dipped your toes into personal finance. It's old, it's simple, and at first glance, it almost feels too basic. But that simplicity is exactly why it works. The Richest Man in Babylon is a personal finance book written in the form of parables set in ancient Babylon. Through short, story like chapters, it follows characters like Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, and shows how ordinary people learn timeless principles about money, saving, investing, avoiding debt, and building wealth steadily over time. Rather than modern financial jargon, this book relies on straightforward wisdom passed from one character to another. What really struck me about this book is how practical it is without pretending to be complex. There's no get rich quick nonsense here, no motivational fluff either. Just blunt, sometimes uncomfortable truths about money and responsibility. Now, the core ideas, pay yourself first, sounds obvious when you hear it. But when I actually reflected on my own life, I realized how rarely I followed it. Most of the time, money comes in and immediately goes out. Food, subscriptions, random spendings, things that don't even register as important. The book forced me to confront that habit. Not in a preachy way, but in a you already know this, why aren't you doing it way. Another thing I appreciated is how the book constantly emphasizes discipline over intelligence. It doesn't matter how smart you are if you don't control your spending. That hit close to home. I've always believed that being aware of finances was enough. This book makes it clear that awareness without action is useless. Knowing where your money goes doesn't mean much if you still let it leak away. The parable format actually helped these lessons sink in because instead of abstract advice, you see people making mistakes, lending money foolishly, trusting the wrong people, chasing risky ventures, and then paying the price for it. It mirrors real life more than most modern finances books do. We've all either made those mistakes or watched someone else make them. One principle I found especially relevant was the idea of protecting your wealth from loss. The book repeatedly warns about investing in things you don't understand or trusting people who benefit more than you do. In daily life, this translates perfectly to modern situations. Hype investments, shortcuts, advice from people who never actually built anything themselves. This lesson alone makes the book worth reading. What I also liked is the book doesn't demonize enjoying life. It doesn't say save everything and live like a monk. Instead, it encourages balance. Save consistently, invest wisely, but still allow yourself enjoyment. That felt realistic and sustainable, not extreme. Reading this book made me reflect less on money itself and more on habits. Money, according to this book, is just a mirror. It reflects discipline, patience, and long term thinking, or the lack of it. I started noticing how often I justified unnecessary spending while delaying saving for later. The book quietly dismantles that mindset. It made me realize that wealth isn't about sudden transformation. It's about small, boring decisions made consistently. And honestly, that's both comforting and frustrating. Comforting because it's achievable, frustrating because it leaves you with no excuse. The richest man in Babylon isn't revolutionary, flashy, or complex, and that's his greatest strength. The principles in this book have survived centuries because they are rooted in human behavior, not trends. If you're expecting advanced financial strategies, this isn't that book. But if you want a solid foundation, a mindset shift, and lessons you can apply immediately in everyday life, this book delivers. It's a kind of book that doesn't change your life overnight, but it quietly changes the way you think about money. And over time, that makes all the difference.